Hey, what is going on, guys? Worst Trends here. If you're anything like me, then you love playing around with the settings on the hose. Watering the flowers, cleaning stuff off, drowning some random kid. No matter what you're doing, it's always fun to mess around with that stuff. You yourself probably have a favorite and least favorite setting. But as for myself, it's a pretty tough choice. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. And maybe instead of picking my favorite, I just find out which one's the best. Here's how it's gonna work. The settings on my hose are as follows: shower, jet, flat, cone, soaker, mist, rinse, and center. Each of these settings will be tested in multiple different trials. At the end of each test, they'll be given a numbered score. At the end of everything, the score will be added up and we'll be left with the definitively best hose setting of all time. Then we'll use that to rank them, from most helpful to full-on useless. The first test we have is distance. This one's pretty simple. For this one, we just have to see how far each setting can reach. This may not seem like a very important statistic, but hoses can only reach so far, and sometimes you just need some extra distance. The farther a setting can reach, the higher score out of 5 it receives, 5 obviously being the best. The second test we'll be trying out is watering. One of the most common uses for hoses is to get plants wet. That way, the grass grows quickly over what you buried. It's obvious that some settings are way better at this than some other ones. Some can be way too hard and some way too gentle. For this test, as well as the next one, it's going to be a score out of 10 because they're more important. Another major use for hoses is cleaning stuff off. You never know when you might find some old shelf that you need to clean off. For this test, a lot more pressure is going to be needed. If you need to get years of dirt off a bed frame, something like mist just isn't going to cut it. Next up, we have a more general test. This one's for accuracy. You need to be able to actually spray what you want. However, this test is a little less important than the others. This one's only going to be out of 3. Now here's one you've been waiting for. Every single person on the planet has been outside on a hot summer day and you just need something to drink. Unfortunately, your parents don't love you, so they locked you out of the house, leaving the hose as the only option to get water. You gotta be careful though, because picking the wrong setting can blast water up your nose, or be too difficult to actually drink from. Because this test is obviously very important, it'll be out of 10. We would be done here, but there's just one more thing I want to say. See, some hose settings have a special function that no other hose can do. And because of that, I want to give out a few extra points to any hose setting that can do something that the rest can't. Each setting can get up to an additional 5 points depending on how useful their unique feature is, and they'll be added up to the rest of the score like normal. Alright, after all this, let's finally move on to the rankings, starting with the most helpful. Starting off with the best setting, we have shower. Normally, I would have saved this one for last, but anyone who's touched a hose knew this would win. It's got a pretty solid score for both distance and accuracy, and it is outright the best setting for watering. Hands down. You've got the area coverage, the perfect pressure, and it just looks so cool. I had to give it an extra point under special functions. It's also surprisingly good at cleaning. Although it likely won't unstick muck from objects, it's perfect for washing things off after a good scrubbing. The only thing shower isn't the best at is drinking. Although it isn't strong enough to blow your face off, trying to drink out of this gets water all over your face, and you probably won't end up drinking much of it either. But other than that, it's great. Shower, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have rinse. Side note, the hose I have in my front yard has the setting full instead of rinse. But they are literally the same thing, so if any of you nerds out there are saying I forgot full, I didn't. Anyway, what am I talking about right now? Hose nerds? Let's move on to the video. Rinse is known for being very powerful, but that comes with a cost. Its distance, cleaning, and accuracy are some of the best, but it really falls flat when it comes to watering and drinking. It's just way too powerful to do either of these reasonably. Coming in at number 6, we have flat. I have to say, flat is pretty underrated when it comes to hose settings. Its distance is mediocre, and it's far too spread out to actually drink from. But it has pretty solid accuracy and cleaning, and it can be one of the best when it comes to watering. This spring, my family had to put down some grass seed that needed to be watered twice a day. Flat was by far the best setting to do for this, because it sprays a good amount of water in a very wide area. Because of this, it gets an 8 in watering and 3 bonus points. Now we have jet. Jet is pretty much rinse on steroids. It has slightly better cleaning, but it's just the same or even worse than rinse when it comes to distance, watering, and accuracy. It is by far the worst setting to drink from. Trying to drink from this makes me feel like the time Peter Griffin was a fireman.
If you think it's safe to drink from a fire hose, why not, Dad? It's just water. Oh, turn it on. I'm very thirsty.
Just shy of the bottom 3 is fan favorite mist. I don't like mist. Why do people like mist? It's useless. It travels a whole half a foot. You can't clean anything with it. And if you have any hope of actually aiming this, good luck with that. It can kinda water plants, but there's no reason to use mist when shower's right there. The only saving grace of this thing is drinking. Whereas it turns out, it's actually the best at. It's kinda tricky, but if you put your mouth at just the right angle, you can get a lot of water without spraying any on your face. I went into this video expecting mist to be the bottom of the barrel, but I guess it's alright. Remember a little bit ago when I was talking about flat? Well, cone is just flat, but worse. It's weaker, covers less area, and is overall less cool. It still gets 2 extra points for being good at watering though. I don't know why this setting even exists. It is terrible in every single test. It doesn't travel farther than your toes. It drowns your plants. It doesn't have enough pressure to clean anything. It can't be aimed at all. And you'd think it'd be good at drinking because it's basically a faucet, but no. It sprays way too much water and it will get all over your face. However, I did give it one special function point, because soaker is probably the best host setting if you need to fill something up, like a baby pool, I guess. But if you want to do literally anything else, don't pick this setting, please. In last place, we have center. I don't know why anyone on God's green earth would want to spray everywhere except for where they're aiming. It has one tiny stream down the middle and 8 more way out to the side that just get in the way. Why would you want your hose to spray like this? Only the middle stream is useful, but it's too small to actually do anything. Its distance is fine, but you definitely can't clean or aim with this thing at all. And technically, you could water with this, but why would you do that when pretty much everything else is a better option? Attempting to drink from this thing is one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my life, because at the source of the spray, the water actually comes out pretty hard, being just as painful as jet. But by the time the streams make it a foot, they're too weak to use. I hate this setting so much, I actually gave it a negative point in special functions, because it sucks. If any of you can think of something center can do that another setting can't do just as well or better, then I applaud you, because clearly you need to be at Harvard right now. Oh, and to whoever invented this thing, I have one thing to say. Why? Well, I hope you guys liked the video, because I spent hours of my life doing these tests, and hopefully this video gets more than 100 views. But before you go, I want to leave you with one last thing. Do not drink this much hose water. I don't feel good.